through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last.
Welcome everyone to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. And for all those that are joining, yes, that is not Valentino. That is not Mr. Tino at all. You're actually looking at Valentina right now. This is little Tina. And little Tina is very, very different from Mr. Tino. And you don't notice at first until you look at her eyes. But she is still adapting to being inside. And so she is not as happy as she has been. Today is her first day inside. And we're still getting to the trust point. We are still getting to the trust point. She is not certain about all this change, and Valentino is definitely not certain about all this change. She's still a little squirrely. She has been on the streets her entire life. So this is her first day living in a house. And that means it's been a bit much. It's been a bit much for her. But she has been adapting well. And so what is up, everybody? I'm certain we will get a few more interactions from her throughout our stream today. But she is the cutest kitty. And definitely has a different personality from Valentino. They are not the same. They are definitely not the same. But what is up, everybody? Let me try to catch up when it comes to all the hellos. What's up, Mile High Trish? And yes, I have got one quite cute pair at the moment. And I also have a Valentino who is staring at me with a death glare because I have Tina in my lap. There's going to be a lot of jealousy going on for a little while, but they seem to be becoming friends quickly. Their only point of contention is my attention. What's up, Kukla? Thank you so much, as always, for everything you do. And Linda, she definitely has made herself at home quickly. She's only been inside since 1 p.m. today. And so we are only looking at about 4 hours of Valentina being inside and being an indoor kitty and somewhat domesticated. So we're going from feral to domesticated in a very, very fast fashion at the moment. What is up? I'm D, and yes. Oh, David, thank you so much for the apple, man. What's up, Valve? Valentino is favorite cat since we kind of share names, which makes him so lovable to a Valentino. Well, they are definitely related. I don't know. They have to be. They're the same size. And they seem to have no problem with each other. And I've never met cats like that. What's up, Captain Spiffy? And yes, yes, the thumbs ups are for Valentina. We are going to be getting into all of the crypto news, and it has been what seemed like a particularly boring day in terms of crypto news, but it hasn't been. There's actually been a lot of things going on that I am excited to jump into. But of course, I knew that it being the first day with Tina, we had to make the beginning all about introducing the little lady because she's the new addition. What is up, Randy? How are you doing? And yep, vacation. David says vacation time is over. Yep, it is time for more learning. And yeah, see, there we go. We got Tino in the background. What's up, Michael? And yes, Tina is. She is very, very rare. It is not normal to have an orange female cat. And I can't even imagine how much more rare it is for the orange female cat to have the aquamarine eyes that she has. And I'm certain everyone is noticing that Tino seems a little bit angry at me in the background. What's up, Donna? Thank you so much for joining. Yes, she is. She is a gorgeous, gorgeous cat. And oh, hello, Deborah. I am in for double trouble because these two for the past 4 hours have been. Tina doesn't care. Tino cares a lot. Tina is not worried about it in the slightest. What's up, musical lady? Welcome, 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 Petrichor. Welcome, Bear and Farmer Deb and Dwayne. Thank you guys so much for joining. I have a feeling that Aya, EL are about to go off chasing each other for a minute. And she has got the grumpiest face. You do. She has got the grumpiest face. But she is just now getting to start living the cush life inside. And so we will see. I don't want to push them onto each other. I want them to figure that out at their own pace. And she is. I don't think I'm getting her off my lap anytime soon at the moment. What's up, Sassy and Abundant 8? All right, all right. Richard. Well, forgot about the show, was busy welding. No problem at all, Richard. No problem at all. Oh, Petrichor Ranch at Crazy Kryptonite. Giant hugs to you for the rescue of those two sweet cats. You got a huge heap of good stuff added to your karma pile. Thank you so much, Petrichor. I think that I received a blessing, and that in all honesty, these two cats, I think that was a gift to me. I don't think it was a gift to them. I hope that it is as beneficial for them as it has been for me, because having them around has made me extremely happy and has been a huge, huge, huge gift that I have received. And so I thank you, but I also think that it was I don't think that the nice thing was me saving them. I think the nice thing was how much they have helped me. But I'm glad that we get to live in a symbiotic world where they get to help me and I get to help them because they are wonderful. She is just too sweet to be this quick off of the road. I can't believe it. I really can't. I don't know why I am being blessed in such a way, but between her and Tino, I have done something right. I have done something right. What's up, Deborah? U-turn. Red-haired felines are different, intelligent, spunky cats. Red hair on girl kitties are rare too. It is U-turn. It is a particularly rare occurrence, and I can't believe someone didn't snag her off the street knowing that, but it also would have been pretty difficult because she never leaves my porch and never has. I would say one new occurrence is that I now have a group of very angry male cats that are sitting outside of my door screaming all day long. I think that Tina was particularly popular out there, and she had a lot of suitors that were chasing her attention. And now they are all sitting outside. But Tina has had all of her shots, and she has had her flea treatments and everything of that nature. She is getting fixed on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, Tina will be at the vet, and as will Tino. And so I'm going to go ahead and make certain that they're all good to go at the same time. Tino is already fixed, but he's going to be getting a double check just to make certain she didn't give him any mites or fleas or anything of that nature. We're going to do a double check on both of them at the same time, but she will be getting fixed on Wednesday. What's up, Crypto Kenny? Welcome, welcome. Oh, and I like the profile photo, man. Nice. Happy Hound. Can you tell them apart without looking? The Z twins. They are pretty similar, but when you catch them next to each other, it's not that hard. Tina is much lighter than Tino. Tino is a darker orange. All right, guys. I'm gonna try to catch up. What's up, Roxanne? Happy Hound. Welcome, guys, and welcome, Neil. Thank you so much, as always, for joining in sunny and 89 in Graham, North Carolina. Is it humid, though? Is it humid? Because in North Carolina, that's always the difference between it being an awful day or it being an amazing day. When we get a dry heat, it's great in North Carolina. When we get a humid heat, oh, needless to say, you feel like you need a poncho. The only problem is you're the only one precipitating. All right, though, guys. Oh, Laurie Jean, I think it's hilarious how they let you manhandle. They are very, very, very friendly when it comes down to things like that. And I usually try to make that a bit of a point with them, being very, very gentle, but at the same time, making it clear, because otherwise cats are going to walk all over you. You can't work with a cat the same way that you can with a dog, but they do learn in a similar fashion where, you got to be, you got to make certain that they understand that they can do whatever they want, but they're still your cuddle bug. They're still your cuddle bug, and they can't get away because they're gonna cuddle with you whether they like it or not. I don't think that's true the majority of the time, but I was lucky. I knew that Valentina already was that kind of way because she's been outside and I've been feeding her for a month now. And she would let me pick her up, carry her around, no problem. She never tries to scratch. She never tries to hurt. She just knows, hey, no, I trust this guy. He's not going to do anything wrong. They are, yes, Kukla, there is room in the bed for both. I'm going to end up with a bed full of cats by the end of it. And Petrichor Ranch, you're totally right. Cats are smart. They just have to agree to do what you say. They don't always agree. They are very trainable. They are, but they're trainable in a different way than a dog. A dog is always reward, punishment, reward, punishment. And a cat doesn't work that way. A cat does not understand that distinction. And so, yes, I now have a cat attached to my lap at the moment. What's up, Sandy? I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful beginning to the week. And thank you, Kukla, as always. An important thing before we get into the news is that everything that is shared in terms of the Crazy Kryptonite channel is designed for entertainment and educational purposes alone and should not be viewed as financial or legal advice. Please do consult a professional. Oh, happy hound. You will need to go back and look at Tina's expressions when you were holding Tina. I I don't know how Tino is feeling right now. I've been trying to spend a lot of time giving him extra affirmations today because I don't want Tino to feel like he is losing his best buddy. I want him to feel like he's gaining a new friend. So we're it's going to be a fine line for a little while. It's going to be a fine line. Laurie Jean, remember the cat episode with Sheldon on Big Bang? Be careful so we don't have to do an intervention. Don't worry, I have made it official. I am not taking any more cats. So, I am not going beyond 2 cats no matter what. And that means because last night, when I was out feeding Valentina, I had 5 cats outside. And so that means I am going to have to open up an adoption shelter for cats because we are at a point where I have got a horde of cats sitting outside of my door and I am going to need help. So, in the near future, we may be starting a cat adoption fund in order to handle, or well, a cat adoption center in order to handle all the cats that have been attracted here from the month and a half, 2 months that I have been feeding Tina. I may need some help at some point, but Kukla, give 1 or 2 to Pops. I don't know if Pops is going to go for that one. And Laurie Jean, intervention coming. I feel it. It may happen. It may happen. But all right, guys, let's jump in to the news today. We'll see if we get our kitty cats coming back for another bit of camera time. Otherwise, we've had a crazy market per usual. We are looking at a market that is down. Bitcoin sitting at 66,474 at the moment. Ethereum 3,513. Solana 142.39. This is something that I had talked about, guys. Remember, I said I was rotating out of Solana. It seemed like it had just seen too much of a price increase and that it had kind of broken away from the logic. It is still maintaining what would be very normal in terms of price action. If Bitcoin moves down 5%, the expectation is that altcoins will move down 10%. That has always been the normal cycle. But this bull season has really been different. This bull market has not seen things as closely correlated as they have been in the past. But we are seeing right now Solana at 10.7% down on the week and Bitcoin at 4.4%. More in line, but Ethereum only 3.9%. And the real winner for the past 2 days has been XRP. XRP sitting at 50 cents, up 3.3% on the week, while we see Bitcoin down, Ethereum down, BNB down, Solana down. We see XRP actually holding steady. And so I will not make too many guesses on what's occurring in that one. I would bet that it comes down to the stablecoin announcement and the stablecoin release that is coming soon. I'm expecting that to end up being the reason. Usually, and it's the same way that it works in finance. Typically, when you see a certain stock or a certain crypto that is making a price increase or a price decrease, and it does not have logic behind it, what's usually occurring is insider trading. People that do have the information are making moves outside of the normal market. And that has become so much of a truth at this point that I just assume it. If you do see the price increasing with absolutely no news, there's no information, there's no anything going on, from what I've normally encountered in the crypto market. It means conversations are occurring in the background and we're just not being informed about them. And so my guess here is that conversations in regards to XRP are being had in the background and we're just not hearing about them at the moment because it has broken correlation with every other top 10. Look, Shiba down 15, Avalanche 12%, Cardano 7.3, Doge 9.7, Solana 10.7, BNB 6.5, Bitcoin 4.4, and yet we see XRP up 3.3% over a 7-day cycle. Typically, that means that people that are in the know are buying. It's not always the case, but when you look down this chart, you'll notice that there is a universal amount of red. Universal. And yet, there is, for some reason, a immediate increase only sitting here at XRP and Toncoin. Toncoin was because of some major announcements this week. XRP made no announcements this week, and yet the price is increasing. That to me is always something to keep in mind. And Greg, that's actually a great question. Do you think the XRP conference in Florida has anything to do with this? That absolutely could be a correlating factor in regards to the price increase. It typically is something where, and same thing with stocks, same thing when you see one stock being talked about on the news all the time, it tends to result in more people researching it, taking interest, and considering the purchase. And U-turn, yes, XRP has been adopted by Japan in the form of the Japanese central bank choosing to partner with XRP or Ripple Labs, the company. Very often, those partnerships don't seem to result in a price increase for XRP, the token. They should. They absolutely should. They just don't tend to. What we do have today, though, in terms of the news, and that I am excited to get to share, but is somewhat unexpected, is that Tether has launched a gold-backed US dollar stablecoin known as Alloy. This is huge news, guys. This is the first ever gold-backed US dollar on a blockchain. This is the first one. This is a gold-backed stablecoin. This is absolutely new news. It occurred this morning. The article is 2 hours old. I imagine that this is going to be making shockwaves throughout the industry for a while. Now, Tether, do keep in mind, when it comes down to Tether, they are not a U.S. company. They are not trustworthy. And so please, please do not take me covering this story in any way as it being an endorsement of their gold-backed crypto. It is merely a matter of providing the news and that it has happened. And so, Laurie Jean, what does that mean? When it comes down to it, what it means is that Tether is providing a token that is $1. It is just $1, but it is backed by gold. It's not backed by having $1 in a bank account. Everything previously, Laurie, has been a matter of having $1 sitting inside of a bank account. And that dollar is represented by the crypto token. It's just represented. Now, in this case, the $1 that is sitting inside of your crypto wallet is not being represented by $1 sitting in a bank account. It's not, it's very similar to like our last stream where it's a matter of fungible. $1 is $1. Doesn't matter if you tore it up or if it had marks on it or whatever. In this case, it's not a dollar sitting in a bank account. It's a gold coin sitting in a bank vault. and you are getting $1 that is a representation of a portion of that gold ounce. And so that's a very, very important question, Laurie. I'm glad that you asked that. And that is something that's important for people to start thinking about. When something is backed up by something, a precious resource, currency, things of that nature, what is important to keep in mind is that there's a difference between something being backed by a US dollar or being backed by gold. Because if we ever did see a major divergence between those two prices, your stable coin that is being backed by gold is actually going to be worth more than your stable coin that is backed by a US dollar in a bank account. And that's where these things are about to get very, very confusing for people that are new to the industry and new to the terminology, but are also going to become very, very important. If you are worried about the deflation of the US dollar, the deflating value of the US dollar, on account of inflation, those terms always become difficult when you start to think about it that way. The value is deflating, the supply is inflating, and those things are essentially you saying the exact same thing. But when you start to think about it from that perspective, you're going to start wanting to consider thinking about whether it's backed by gold or whether it's backed by $1 US. And so, Shet DePaul, and thank you, Kukla and Shet. I did just go ahead and post that link to that article. Please, please, guys. Musical lady, that exactly. Tether originates from what country? I'm just curious since it's a gold-backed token. Tether holds the vast majority of their backing in China and offshores. Please do not go out there and think that Tether is a trustworthy company. I don't. I never will. This to me is just really a matter of expressing the news in regards to this being the first ever gold-backed stablecoin. I am in no way suggesting, participating, and I never will when it comes down to it. I am just going to educate people on what's occurring. That is the only goal that I have, is to make certain that folks understand what's happening, not to make certain that people are buying these things. When it comes down to it, I would not trust Tether in the slightest. I use Tether. But I never hold Tether. And when I say hold, that means I never sell crypto and into Tether and then keep that Tether sitting in my hardware wallet. Not ever, not once. You will never see Tether on my wallet. The reason is that I do not trust the company, but I do trade with Tether, in that if I am going to swap from, say, XRP to XLM and they're on different exchanges, I may exchange into Tether in order to make that trade. But all I am doing is exchanging into Tether in order to exchange to the other currency. I am never keeping my money sitting in Tether, and I highly recommend that no one does. Highly, highly recommend. Do not trust that company. I am only presenting the news because it is the news in regards to the fact that Tether is the first. They are the first. And that is something that everyone needs to keep in mind and that everyone needs to be cautious of, because I imagine we are just seeing the beginning of this. We are probably going to see XRP. We're probably going to see Ethereum. We're going to see other blockchains, other companies that are going to start doing the same thing. Tether's just first. They had the most money, and that means they get to be first to back. That doesn't mean it is going to end up being the currency that everyone utilizes in the future. I hope that it isn't. If we end up in a world where we are trusting Tether, the company, to be the custodians of our gold, our silver, and of our long-term wealth, we are living in a dystopian future. And so this is absolutely not an endorsement. And so I know I've said that probably too many times at this point, but I want to make certain that it's very, very clear. And that's because the last thing that I want is for folks to have seen something on this channel, gone off and been like, oh, yeah, I'm going to put all my money in XAUT, which apparently is the new name for the dollar-backed, the gold-backed dollar. It's a tool. Use it. Get out of it. I have never worried about trading into Tether for an hour in order to make another transaction, but I have also never been confident leaving my money sitting in it for a long term. And so we will dive into this real quick, though, guys. Alloy, which is the name of Tether's new gold-backed stable coin, is over collateralized. And that means that it does have more gold actually in holdings than it has released to the public. That is a good sign. That is a good sign in terms of the general safety, because this has always been a worry. When you decide to have a cryptocurrency or any currency that is backed by precious metals in any form or fashion, you do have that general worry. What if the price of gold or silver were to take a massive hit? What if? It's at least something that's worth keeping in mind. What occurs when you back something up by gold and silver, by precious metals, and the value of the precious metals fluctuates? That's going to result in issues. And so it's very important to keep an eye on how this works out, because it is the first example that we're going to be presented with that is actually living out there in the real world. It's not just a bunch of geeks and a bunch of computer nerds and finance guys working inside of a hypothetical model. This is a gold-backed US dollar that is actually in the wild. And so I am going to be keeping a very close eye on how things go. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on how they are able to support their circulating supply. And remember, when it's circulating supply, that's the amount of digitized or tokenized versions that are out there in the world. So if you have $30 billion of gold sitting in a bank vault and you issue 20 billion tokens that each represent $1 US that are backed by that $30 billion of gold in a bank vault, does it stay that way? Or do they start to issue more and more and more tokens until the gold can't actually back up every single one of them? That's something that we need to keep an eye on. And that's something that is going to be very important as we look towards a future where our currency is actually backed by real world assets. This is going to be the same thing that people are going to be doing a decade from now. They're going to be looking at a token that is backed by precious metals, or backed by real estate, or backed by debt, or backed by all these other tokenized real world assets. And they're going to be saying, are there enough assets held to back up the amount of tokens that exist? This is always going to be a very, very important question for us always to keep in mind, because we're going to see companies come and go for a while now. We're going to see the new company that's tokenizing real estate And then they're going to tokenize real estate, and they're going to place real estate up, and they're going to say, well, we have value that is locked. We would like to issue a token for people to be able to trade against our locked assets. And we're going to have to always be aware of keeping an understanding that those assets need to either be highly over collateralized, or we need some other guarantee that if we hold this token, our money, our value is not going to depreciate on account of decisions that the company makes or macroeconomic factors. When it comes down to gold, it's not Tether's fault if gold's price goes down. But if they are over collateralized to a degree that it is safe, it won't affect us as consumers. If they are not collateralized properly, then gold's price fluctuating down could result in my secure gold-backed investment not being as secure as I originally hoped. That's why it's important to keep these things in mind and to really keep an eye on these companies. Because if we hold them accountable, that the blockchain allows us to hold companies and governments accountable, it's on us to do it. It's on us to do that research, or on us finding people who are doing the research that we can trust. Neil Brooks, I have been accepting crypto for payment for services. No problem so far. There is quite a few of my customers that have crypto. I have a Trezor wallet just for this, then send to Ledger. That is awesome, Neil. That is awesome. Hey, you are, Neil, you are on the cutting edge in terms of this one. I have always been so impressed by everything that you have shared in regards to crypto and your adoption of it. Because in the near future, everything you've been doing and everything you've been learning is about to be something that every company is going to be going through the process of learning, and you've already done it. That's a huge, huge step up in terms of the competition, Neil. And it is. Most everyone is going to start owning crypto. Whether they want to or not, they're going to. All right, let me try to catch up. Laurie Jean, many will pop up like phone companies did in the 90s with AT&T breakup. Yes, very, very true, Laurie. There are going to be so many companies that are going to be jumping on the bandwagon when it comes down to this one. The most important thing for me is us finding the companies that are actually trying to do it the right way, or us going out there and making them do it the right way, because that's going to be the most important part. Crypto is a double-edged sword. Crypto can lead us to a decentralized and free world, or it can lead us into a dystopian authoritarianism that can only really be related to George Orwell's 1984. And it really is going to come down to us. Because when we know that those that are in power, the elites, are not going to do things in our favor unless we make them. That's where blockchain and this technology comes into effect, where it's so important, because we can very easily hold them accountable to their actions on entirely in regards to the fact that with blockchain, we all get to see it. So Laurie Jean, Neil Brooks, what do you think of your Trezor? It is. So a Trezor, Laurie Jean, is another company that provides a hardware wallet. They're actually the second largest hardware company out there, and they make an awesome product. I have no complaints. I've gotten to use other people's Trezors, and I do not mind them at all. They're a lot easier. To me, a Trezor is more like a combination between a software wallet and a hardware wallet. It's somewhere in between the wallet you walk around with each day and the bank vault that you keep your long-term wealth in. To me, it's somewhere in between. It absolutely serves a purpose. It's a tool. And so I am in no way opposed to the product. I just prefer and the one that I've always used, but they're great. No complaints at all. I've gotten to use other people's. U-turn. Well, the GCR stabilized the price of gold, i.e., lock it in. I do not think that it will. When we look at the future, I don't imagine we'll ever see a locked in price to any precious metal. The reason behind that is that gold, silver, palladium, platinum, copper, every other metal, they're utilized for industrial and commercial purposes. And that means that each time we use gold or silver or anything else for a commercial purpose, there's going to be a loss that occurs. Lost gold, lost silver. And that means when we start to look out on a really, really long scale towards a asset-backed economy, we're going to start seeing a world where the amount of gold and silver on this planet continually go down. And so I actually expect that what we will enter into, U-turn, is a world where gold and silver appreciate at the rate they are used. And so when the U.S. government uses 500 ounces of silver to make a Tomahawk missile because that's how much they use, are we going to recover all 500 ounces of silver from the bomb site? No, we're not. And that means there's less silver in circulation. And I think that will result in a steady appreciation of these assets. Not that they will ever go down in value, but that we will enter into a world where they steadily increase in value based off of the amount of physical weight that you actually hold. All right. It's like picking out a piano. Chet to Paul. It's like picking out a piano. Do you need the organ with all the effects? Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, Chet. When it comes down to it, a lot of the different wallets end up in different ways, where certain ones are better for certain things. In the same way that I still carry around a wallet in my pocket each day that everyone else says makes me well, it was my grandfather's wallet, so I carry around my grandfather's wallet, and so it's big and it's a leather bifold, and I can carry 10 pounds around in it, it seems like. Whereas nowadays people are carrying around their Ridge wallet with one credit or one debit card in it. I look at it kind of like that, or the distinction between a debit card or cash in my pocket. A software wallet to me is cash in my pocket. A good way of looking at maybe a Trezor or something like that would be as the debit card or the credit card inside of your wallet. That might be a good way to look at it. Musical lady, supply and demand will dictate the fluctuation of price. Like Andy Scheckman said himself, the many uses of silver, especially in the military, will drive up the demand. Absolutely, musical lady. That's one thing that I always look to, and I think that's something that a lot of folks that are looking towards, a lot of the guys that are talking about the GCR, that are talking about currency finally being backed by real world assets, that's one part of the process that I don't feel like has been dug into enough. Because when it comes down to it, silver is not just a storage of wealth. Gold is not just a storage of wealth. It's a commodity. And that commodity needs to be used. And when it's used, it undoubtedly will not enter back into circulation as a holding or a foundation of wealth in the same form that it left it. When it leaves, 1 gram of gold goes into the computer processing board. When it comes back out, it's not going to be 1 whole gram of gold anymore. And so that's always something that I feel like needs to be appreciated or needs to be jumped into. All right, so let's jump, though, into our next articles, guys. I know this one is a particularly interesting one, And I'm certain we're going to be talking about this on a regular basis just because of how important it will be as we move into the future. But we have got a lot of different things to go through. So the SEC issues an important statement on the Ripple XRP case. U.S. Security and Exchange Commission opposed Ripple's efforts to reduce the fines, stating that the firm admitted nothing, which I'm not surprised by. Ripple didn't do anything wrong, so why would they admit to doing anything wrong? But the SEC rejected Ripple's request for lower fines in its lawsuit against the regulator, saying last week that the circumstances were different when determining penalties for Terraform. Terraform were the people that were behind Terra USD. That was the algorithmically backed stablecoin that failed and resulted in massive losses for its holders. And they issued an extremely small fee to Terraform Labs at around a $2 billion penalty. And all Ripple is saying is that if they only had to pay $2 billion for doing that, we should be paying far less, considering we did not do anything wrong. And so, of course, the SEC is going to fight back in regards to this one. Terraform ended up agreeing to paying $4.47 billion as a part of their settlement. Terraform Labs resulted in over $30 billion of investor money being lost. And so, if Terraform Labs is allowed to lose $30 billion of their customers' money and only pay $4.47 billion in compensation for having lost that, so that is less than 1/6 of what they managed to lose, and XRP is being fined many billions more, and they didn't lose anyone's money, Ripple Labs is saying that doesn't make sense. We didn't do anything wrong. We didn't lose our customers' money. And yet we are being penalized more than a company that willfully lost $30 billion of their customers' money. I would completely agree with Ripple Labs' argument on this point. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, we can place this one into very, very simple regards. Say you loaned me $100 and I paid you back $100. Did I do anything wrong? Now, say you loaned me $100 and I gave you back $15. Which of those two situations seems like a crime? The one where you got paid back, or the one where you got paid back $15 for your $100 investment? There's a clear distinction between having a crime with a victim and having a situation where there was no victim. And so Ripple is just purely making that exact argument. Hey, we didn't lose anybody any money. We didn't do anything wrong. And in another situation, a company lost their customers a crap ton of money and you didn't do anything about it. These cases are going to continue. I really hope that the SEC drops these before the end of the year. I think that they do remain a huge anchor on the Ripple team. Essentially, until XRP is capable of getting the SEC to leave them the heck alone, they're going to have a very hard time having the price of XRP appreciate to where it really should be. I view that as both an opportunity in the terms of XRP is highly undervalued, and also as a huge detriment, because people that are holding their money in the form of XRP right now are watching other tokens have massive gains. If you bought XRP in January, January 1st of this year, you bought XRP, and January 1st, you spent the same amount of money buying Ethereum. your Ethereum investment would be up 150+%. You would have more than doubled your money. If you bought XRP January 1st, you have the same amount of money you had on January 1st. And that's where I see the major detriment to what's going on in terms of these legal cases. It's not that the underlying value is different, it's that the market is taking into account these cases to a disproportionate degree. We're undervaluing XRP because of these legal cases, where we are allowing Ethereum and other cryptos to have their real world market value. That's the negative. That is absolutely the negative in terms of it. In the long run, it's an opportunity in that people are capable of buying Ripple highly undervalued from what it should be priced at. All right, though, continuing on, Bitcoin as a safe haven. The infamous BlackRock CEO exposes global economic crisis. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink recently addressed the G7 leaders, highlighting a significant shift in the global financial system. And here's really the quote that I have this article up here for. There's plenty more to dive into here in regards to the information and news in this one, but the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the World Bank were created 80 years ago when banks, not markets, financed most things. Today, the financial world is flipped. The capital markets are the biggest source of private sector financing. And I think that this statement actually coming out of Fink is extremely important. Because what he's highlighting, that real difference between the worlds and the markets that we had 80 years ago and the markets that we have today, are that the markets of 80 years ago were, first of all, and probably most importantly, actually had a solid foundation. The world that we live in today does not. And so we are seeing the general idea of a capital market being the greatest source of private financing. And that means it's not people who have money that is just saved. It's people that have money that is working for them. As we look towards the future, I expect this shift to rotate over to the idea of a commodity market becoming the most important thing. Because really, when it comes down to it, gold and silver and precious metals, oil, they're commodities. That is the way we want them to be designated. We want them to always stay commodities. The reason being is because we don't want to enter into the whole idea of security regulations. We want to ensure that they stay the way that they're currently being identified. And if we were to advance into a world where they were the major source of funding, as in I am really being represented by the amount of precious metals that I own, which is the world we're looking for. That's the world we want. That is a world where our work, our value, our efforts will result in long-term wealth. That is going to be highly, highly correlated with how much precious metal, how many commodities, how many resources we hold the tokenized form of. So if I have 300 ounces of tokenized gold, that is going to be worth infinitely more than $300,000 of US dollars that are not backed by anything. And we're going to see that shift occur extremely quickly over the next 10 years. Extremely quickly. And it seems as if the big dogs are starting to finally say that in public, as opposed to just talking about it behind closed doors. And so in regards to our general prices in terms of the market, Bitcoin bounces to 67K with BTC miners rallying 5 to 10%. XRP leads the altcoins, just as we had looked at XRP seems to be the only guy right now who is having a good day. In regards to the Bitcoin miners, this is in large degree resulting from Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump said that he wants all of the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the United States of America. I support him 1,000,000% in this goal. He said it is our last line of defense against central bank digital currencies. This is extremely important for everyone to be aware of because Bitcoin right now is our last line of defense. Just as Trump stated, he could not be more correct. But what we need is for the remaining Bitcoin and for our energy sector to advance to a degree where it's capable of ensuring we are the number one producers of the remaining Bitcoin yet to be mined. And I think that this rally in terms of the Bitcoin miners, and so when it says this, these are Bitcoin mining companies. These companies are publicly traded stock. You can invest in Bitcoin miners, and then their value, their stock value is highly correlated around their general Bitcoin output. And so we're seeing the markets reacting to Donald Trump's statement. I believe this is an assumption from the Bitcoin miners that Donald Trump is going to win this election. And so here is an article. We have already discussed a lot of the quotes here, but Donald Trump flips on crypto from scam to building a crypto army. And the reason I brought this article to y'all's attention is because it's NBC News. We're seeing more and more mainstream news talking about it. In a sharp reversal, I always question when they say that. I'm just going to ignore that word. In a sharp reversal, President Donald Trump has embraced the cryptocurrencies he once reviled, looking to outflank rivals Joe Biden and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. among the technology's devoted young fan base and its deep-pocketed executives. And so, hours after meeting with Bitcoin miners at his Mar-a-Lago estate on Wednesday, the former president said on Truth Social that cryptocurrency users should vote for Trump because he will stand up to Biden's hatred of Bitcoin. This narrative, this story is going to become more and more prominent throughout this campaign season. I know it does not seem like it. It seems like we have infinitely larger problems than cryptocurrency. We have got an ongoing war in Ukraine. We have got Hezbollah ramping up efforts to attack Israel. We have got massive issues in regards to China and North Korea. And it seems like those things should be the most important parts of the campaign. We have huge issues domestically, probably, in my opinion, more important than these foreign issues. And yet, we are seeing Donald Trump focus more on crypto than he is on immigration. Why is he doing that? I think that's a very, very important question for everyone to be asking. Why is crypto more important than what appears to us as immediate dangers? And I strongly believe the reason that crypto is being focused on is because it's a part of all these other issues. It is the main concern because if we can fix our financial system, we can solve these other problems. If we could account for where our dollars that are being given to Ukraine are actually going and what they're being used for, we could solve problems. If we could see the way that we have got different bankers and organizations and political thinkers out there influencing, say, the immigration that we're seeing inside of the United States, if we could see where George Soros's money was going, we would be able to counteract what he's doing on all these other fronts. And so I view crypto, and I think, judging by the way that the Trump campaign is speaking so commonly about it, that they view it in the same way as I do, in that if we could control money, we could control the rest of these issues. And so it's not going to go away. We're going to keep hearing about it. And I think we're going to start hearing far more declarative statements come out than we've already heard. We've already heard huge statements come out of Trump's mouth in regards to crypto. They've been huge. It's the first time in my life that we have ever had a presidential candidate talking about giving the power of finance back to the people. Trump is talking about it. That is flipping huge. All right, continuing forward. Mark Cuban warns Biden official could boost Trump's election chances. And we just so happen to have John Rich of Big and Rich, the country music duo that have now kind of gone their own ways, but still get back together all the time to do concerts and things of that nature. And they are looking at things in the same way. Of course, I have many complaints when it comes to Mark Cuban, but he is right. He is right. The fact that Donald Trump is doubling down and focusing on bringing finances back to a decentralized and back to the people is absolutely going to have an effect on this election. I think that we saw just on Friday, I shared the article talking about how the Biden campaign is planning on starting to accept crypto donations. They're doing that because of the pressure they are feeling. They've seen the amount of money that Trump has raised. I am still hoping that the Biden administration chooses to start accepting crypto donations, guys, because if they do, I guarantee you, we are going to have streams every day of the week watching where that money comes from. We will hold them accountable. We will not allow for the Biden campaign to bring in funny money. We will be able to actually pay attention. And so, fingers crossed, the Biden campaign starts to accept crypto donations. Fingers crossed. I think that it is a trap and that Biden needs to start accepting crypto donations because he needs the crypto community to support him. But if he starts accepting crypto donations, we're going to be able to track where his money comes from. It is absolutely a trap for the Biden campaign. And oh my God, I hope they fall for it. I hope they fall for that trap. If they do, we will have a blast tracking every single Biden contributor. We will spend all day I will spend all day doing it. I don't know if anyone else will join me as I do it, but I will be there all day long tracking where Biden's contributions come from. And so, just as we had discussed earlier in regards to Bitcoin miners rallying on account of Trump's announcement, we are seeing mining executives actually have established an organization to influence U.S. crypto voters. And so, a board member of the Bitcoin Voter Project described the group as nonpartisan and planned to take a different approach than initiatives like Stand with Crypto. So, 3 executives representing some of the largest cryptocurrency mining companies in the United States have helped launch a nonprofit organization to educate voters on Bitcoin. These campaigns, when they are nonpartisan, please keep in mind that when it comes to the cryptocurrency community and crypto investment, they are supporting candidates that support decentralized crypto. And so, if a Democrat chooses to back decentralized finance and chooses on account of that to side with the crypto community, you are going to see crypto companies support them. When it comes down to it, we still need people that have different social views. What we don't need is people that are supporting authoritarianism. And so, when you see these type of contributions, yes, they claim they are nonpartisan. When you look at where the money goes and the candidates that it goes to, it's pretty partisan. It's typically just Republicans. But there are certain Democrats that will receive money from these different campaigns. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. I think that these political action committees should be nonpartisan. When it comes down to it, there are a lot of rhinos that I don't want them giving money to. There are more Democrats I don't want them giving money to. But there are a lot of rhinos that I also don't want it. So I think that it is better that the crypto industry is not choosing a side, it is choosing an issue. And issue-based politics, in my opinion, are a good thing when it comes down to supporting things like this. When it comes down to our financial future, I'd rather have you on my team and us disagree about other social issues than have you just entirely out of the conversation. I'd rather us find those core principles that we do agree on and we can work from there. And yes, Musical Lady, we'll bring it on of having binge watch parties of the Democrats accept crypto donations for sure. I can't wait, Musical Lady. And Kukla, can't wait for the watch party to see where the money goes. We can just sit there and watch it all day long. I'll probably open up a 24/7 live stream just on account of that, with all the screens pulled up so that people can watch where that Democrat money is coming from. I have a feeling we will figure out how dirty it is real quick. All right, though, guys, let's jump through our last article, and then we will go ahead and say goodnight for the evening. But in regards to AI news, McDonald's ends AI drive-thrus for now. And so McDonald's had tried to utilize a pilot project in order to have AI take everyone's orders. It ended up having mixed results. Some people were very, very happy with it. Some people were not. This is another thing everyone's going to be hearing about on a regular basis. AI is going to be brought in, brought out, brought back in, improved. And McDonald's partnership with IBM in regards to AI order taking remains in effect. Apple AI will erode human creativity, one prompt at a time. This is an article that I have and that will be inside of the Discord. And so remember, guys, all the links are brought into today's links inside of the Discord group. This article is primarily for that reason, because it's discussing the fact that as we enter into a world where creativity is really just a matter of what you chose to ask the AI, how do we value human creativity? How important is the fact that I had an idea versus an AI had an idea? A human idea or an artificial intelligence's idea? How are we going to value these as we move into the future? Are we still going to value an amazing human artist who's capable of making images and photos and paintings, I mean, that are incredible, versus an AI that's capable of making a photo that's perfect? How are we going to value creativity when we move into the future? And it's an excellent philosophical question. It raises a lot of thoughts. It definitely makes me think back to to sitting around with a circle of people and thinking about stupid questions and stupid answers. When it comes down to it, what kind of world are we going to live in when AI is more creative than us? It's not just smarter than us, it's more creative than us. I think many people are scared by it. I'm not scared by it. I'm merely cautious of it. I want to have an understanding of how it works. I want to keep an eye on it. I want to make certain that they aren't screwing us over as humans in order to prioritize the technology. But we're going to have to really do that one by the seat of our pants. And And here we go. AI hiring slowed for banks in first quarter, but it's picking up again. And so there was a general slowing in terms of the banking sector in regards to hiring AI professionals, and they are now back to a steady pace. And to me, this one makes a lot of sense. We're going through kind of a growth contraction phase inside of the AI market. The same thing that we have been with blockchain for years now, where we see massive growth that is really speculative, and then we see the market contract, and then we see the market grow. AI is operating on an extremely fast timeline. And so the beginning of this year, we did not see a major increase in terms of AI hiring. Now in the second quarter, we did see in the second quarter a massive growth in AI hiring. This cycle is going to continue for decades now in regards to both blockchain and AI. It's capable of operating in that fashion because of us. We as humans are making investments, we're making purchases, and we're speculative. AI is on a steady linear progression. AI is progressing at the same rate today that it did yesterday, that it did the day before, that it did the day before that, because AI is a learning module. It is learning. Every day it learns, it progresses. Every day we allow any artificial intelligence to continue processing information, it gets smarter every day. Whereas we are investing and speculating in a very, very human and emotional way. It's not. It is a logical linear progression. And so I expect there to be, whereas the AI market really should just be a straight line, it's always going to be a very, very much volatile market, as it's us that are speculating. It's not AI. If we asked AI where it's going, I imagine it would pretty much give us a slightly sloped curve, and it would have no worry at all. At a certain point, Greg, that is a great assertion. Moore's law doesn't apply to AI growth. At some point, it will. At some point, it will. We will start to see a degrading degree of growth at some point. We're just not there yet. We're just not there yet. Right now, AI is still being fed information. It hasn't reached a point where it's starting to have any degree of fall off because there's still a lot of info it doesn't know yet. When we run out of data to provide it, I think that will be the point that we start to see diminishing returns. It'll be directly around that point where we no longer have data to provide it. Once it knows everything, it's only going to be able to learn as fast as new information is created. And that is going to be a very, very interesting time. I imagine at that point, we'll actually start to use AI to create data for AI. That is something that's an inception type existential debate to be had. But at a certain point, when there's no longer more data that humans can create, we'll start to have AI create data for AI. I imagine that's what'll occur. How that works out, well, I guess we're all going to find out with time. And so thank you guys all so much for joining in. I cannot wait to talk again on Wednesday. And please do, if you have any desire to have the crazy Cryptonaut AI, sorry, I was just reading a comment as I read. If you have a desire to have the crazy Cryptonaut NFT, it is free. Please do consider signing up with the Google Forms link. I will make certain to grab that one last time and post it in to the chat. And so if anyone does want to put in your information, it is a free NFT. It is designed for us to help everyone learn about what non-fungible tokens can be used for. Please do go ahead and put in a wallet address, preferably a software wallet, not the wallet that you're keeping your long-term wealth on. Use a software wallet, and I will send along a NFT for everyone to be able to enjoy and also learn with. It is free. And so if you do choose to do that, I am happy to send those out. I'm expecting that I will do that actually next Sunday. I will close the giveaway, and everybody that has gotten one will end up being the only ones that have the OG original Crazy Kryptonite NFT. And so thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful one. And I will see everyone over in the chat at 7 p.m. on the original Mark Z. Peace, y'all.